Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Militant group the Niger Delta Avengers have threatened to launch fresh attacks on Nigeria's pipelines. The group, which had ceased attacks following talks with the government, in a statement released on Friday said it had called off the ceasefire. It blamed fraudsters from the Niger Delta region working with the government as the key reason for the recent development. The group warned that it is no longer interested in talks with the government, adding it will resume bombing of pipelines. The Niger Delta Avengers had last year claimed responsibilities for most of the attacks in the Nigeria's oil-rich region. Its attacks had pushed Nigeria's crude production to about 1 million barrels per day and accelerated the country's inflation rate to 11-year highs. There have been no substantial attacks by any group in the region since January this year. The trial of a former spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Metu, has been adjourned till December 4, 2017. Metu is currently facing charges bordering on a criminal breach of trust, corruption, money laundering, and allegedly receiving 400 million naira from the office of the former National Security Advisor, Sambo Dasuki. At the resumption of the trial on Friday, Dasuki, one of the key defense witnesses, again insisted he could not recall his dealings with the accused. After entertaining questions from the defense team, Dasuki was discharged by the judge, Justice Okon Abang, who adjourned the trial for the defense to produce its next witness. That next witness is expected to be former President Goodluck Jonathan.
He has now shown exactly the transaction between him and the defendants. And it is clear that defendants, the way they were treated, the way the money was given to them, were all legitimate. He has said that the process followed in releasing the money to the defendants are proper according to government regulations, and that the money given to them are justifiable. That is the most important witness, testimony of the witness. The defendants are very glad for that witness.
I'm satisfied, particularly with my cross-examination. It is for the defense to indicate whether they are satisfied or not. He is a defense witness. For us, the prosecution, I think we have done justice to the case the way we feel it should be done, by asking relevant questions from the witness.
As far as we are concerned, we summoned him to testify as to the veracity of the transaction, and his evidence was that the requisite approvals were given, and we are quite satisfied with it. Ultimately, it's for the court to make a decision.
Suspected kidnapper Chukudumeme Onwa-Amadike, also known as Evans, has filed an application for bail at the Lagos State High Court. Evans, who is facing charges for murder, armed robbery, kidnapping, among other crimes, is also asking the court for an accelerated hearing. However, the Lagos State government, through the Director of Public Prosecution, Titilayo Shitabe, is opposing the charges. In the meantime, the court has dismissed an application filed by Evans, seeking to quash fresh charges brought against him by the government. The Lagos State government recently amended the charges against Evans, accusing him of conspiracy and kidnapping. He has pleaded guilty to these charges. The Lagos State government is opposing the no-case submission filed by the defendant in the trial of the contractors and engineers involved in the construction of a guest house belonging to Synagogue Church of All Nations. The incident, which occurred on September 12, 2014, led to the death of about 116 persons. The Lagos State government is prosecuting the church trustees, 2 engineers and their firms. The defendants are facing a 110-count charge bordering on criminal negligence, manslaughter, and failure to obtain building permits. The judge will rule on the case on the no-submission case on November 24. The Queen of Netherlands, Maxima Willem-Alexander, has advised the Nigerian government to duly embrace financial inclusion as an important enabler for economic development. She made the appeal during a press conference in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, to round off her 3-day visit to the country. Maxima advocated for financial inclusion as a vehicle to alleviate poverty and fostering equitable economic growth in Nigeria.
We need to really focus on a set of steps, and we have agreed that we should be prioritizing and developing a retail payment system that all the Nigerians can actually have access and usage to, onto which, after this payment system is actually done, people can actually have more access to credit, to savings, to insurance, etc. There is a target in 3 years' time to be reached of 80%. If we really work on these issues and we really collaborate within ministries and with the private sector, not only being banks but also mobile network operators, and with the leadership of the Vice President that he assured yesterday, and the commitment of the Central Bank Governor, which he really committed himself to this 80% target in 2020, I think we're really going to make it. At our side, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of my partners that are sitting here on my right and also on my left, we are committed to help Nigeria in this very exciting journey of getting people economically included.
The Nigerian government has set up a committee to review the country's minimum wage structure. According to the Minister of Labour and Productivity, the committee, which has been approved by President Muhammadu Buhari, will constitute members of the key labor unions in the country. They will discuss a new minimum wage law to replace the old law which expired in August 2016. Nigeria's minimum wage is currently at 18,000 naira, while the labor unions are demanding an increase to at least 56,000 naira. The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has agreed to appear before the Nigerian Senate to address allegations brought against him by Senator representing Bauchi Central, Issa Misau. The Senate had set up a panel to investigate allegations of fraud and misconduct raised by Misau against the police chief. Idris had initially refused to honor the invitation of the panel and even initiated a court suit against it. However, he has now backed down from his stance, indicating a willingness to appear before the lawmakers. Our Mumu Don't Do movement is demanding the prosecution of a former secretary to the government of the Federation, Babachir David Lawal. The group on Friday also demanded the prosecution of the former Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Ayodele Oke. Both men were dismissed on Monday after a panel led by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo indicted them of corruption. However, the group wants the government to go a step further than the dismissal.
You are all aware that during our sit-out, after we clamored for justice to be done on the SGF report, the president decided to sack Ayodele Oke and Babachir Lawal. But we are not satisfied, and that is why we are here to say that we must get other answers as to the SGF situation and how they are going to be prosecuted, by this administration. So even if it is the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, that is alleged to have been corrupt or to have been engaged in corrupt activities, then the president must act as the president of the Federation to ensure that he is investigated and prosecuted if found wanting.
Today ends the 2-week sit-out for the Buhari Act or Quit protest. We're going to go back, we're going to re-strategize, we're going to talk to ourselves, and then we're going to take this whole struggle to the next level whilst we wait for the Attorney General to respond to all the demands that have been so far made.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has approved the appointment of 5 new permanent secretaries in the state public service. The names of the newly appointed permanent secretaries are Clara Ibiroga, Timothy Ogunubi, Iyabo Are, Taiwo Salam, and Kofoworola Awobamishe. The appointment take immediate effect.
Corruption not in my country.
Mr. John! Mr. John! What is it now? What is it?
Please turn down the volume of your music. It's too loud.
And how is that your business?
It is disturbing me. I can't sleep.
And the same way you are disturbing my right to good music and where I enjoy it. Eh? What's wrong with you? Is any other person complaining?
Maybe we thought that you have lost your mind. Are you having a party?
I'm just respecting you, sir. You remember I paid my husband too.
You will not understand why we are complaining because you do not care about other people except yourself. Look, the transformation we need in this country begins in this compound.
Yes, now.
From you, and I. This your selfishness is an offshoot of corruption. And corruption not in my country. Oh, you know, go to your bank. Go.
Corruption not in my country.
Glad to have you back. Nigeria's Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun says the proposed $3 billion loan by the federal government will save the country about 91.65 billion naira per annum. This was contained in a statement from the Finance Ministry, which explained possible benefits of the revenue and debt management strategy. According to the minister, the strategy would involve converting short-term treasury bills into longer-tenured international debt at single-digit interest rates. She said about 76.375 billion naira would be saved every year from borrowing the other $2.5 billion component of the loan, making a total annual saving of about 168 billion naira from the $5.5 billion loan. In a bid to promote the tourism and travel sector in Nigeria, the Nigeria Travel Week has announced dates for her annual tourism event scheduled for November 2017. The event, which will run from November 20 to 25, will have in attendance over 50 international delegates made up of tour operators, travel agents, travel media and bloggers from 24 countries. According to the Chief Executive Officer, Nigeria Travel Week, Efetobo Alhana, the event would help in creating tourist attractions and an array of tourism investment opportunities. The Nigerian stock market regained balance on Friday, appreciating by 0.17% to close at 36,939.59 basis points. The gainers table had equities of Nestle, Flour Mill, WAPCO and PZ Cussons leading. Top losers for the day were Presco PLC, International Breweries, Guarantee Trust Bank and GlaxoSmithKline. The banking sector tops the volume chart with First Bank of Nigeria Holdings, United Bank of Africa, Diamond Bank and First City Monument Bank. 361.05 million shares exchanged a total of 3.682 billion naira in 4,396 deals. Moving on to the international scene now, Madagascar is facing the worst outbreak of plague in 50 years. There have been more than 1,800 cases and 127 deaths since the start of the plague in August, according to new figures. The island of the southeast coast of Africa is used to seeing about 400 cases of mostly bubonic plague in the same rural areas every year. But this year, it has developed into the deadlier pneumonic version and spread to much more populated areas, including the capital. The WHO described the plague as one of the deadliest and most feared of all diseases. The Syrian army has retaken Deir al-Zur, the last major stronghold of so-called Islamic State in Syria. This is according to Iraqi state TV. Other reports said the Syrian army and its allies were clearing the last pockets of resistance from IS. IS had held most of the city since 2014. Deir al-Zur is important because of its proximity to the border with Iraq. On to sport now. Arsenal beach soccer team have expressed their willingness to participate in the 2017 Copa Lagos at Eco Atlantic City from December 8 to 10. The English National League champions, who have yet to play in Africa, will play a Lagos side selected by a FIFA instructor and Super Sand Eagles coach Adamu Ejo. Samson Adamu, managing director of Kinetic Sport and organizers of the event, promised an exciting event. Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho has reached an out-of-court settlement with Spanish prosecutors to tax evasion charges. The Portuguese was accused of evading tax up to £2.9 million. The charges relate back to his time in Real Madrid manager between 2010 to 2013. He had initially denied the allegations, but has now agreed to pay €3.3 to settle the case. South African prosecutors have begun appealing against what they have described as a shockingly light sentence given to former Olympian Oscar Pistorius. The Blade Runner is currently serving a 6-year prison sentence for the murder of former model Reba Steenkamp. The prosecutors had earlier filed an appeal against the sentencing because they believed the 6-year sentence was an injustice and has the potential to bring the administration of justice into disrepute. In the new appeal at the Supreme Court of Appeal, the prosecutors are demanding a longer sentence for the former Olympian. The judgment has been reserved for a later date. Well, that's all on news now. Thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.